So this is where the basic information for your class is stored. So you have to enter an employee name. That's just your name. So I'm going to put Patrick. And this is basically used, it's printed at the bottom of most printouts, so that if when you pick things up at the photocopier or printer, that it won't get mixed up with someone else's. You'll be able to identify yours from someone else's. The next part is user role. Now the user role is basically what kind of teacher you are. So if you're a regular classroom teacher, which means you teach one class and all the students in that class are the same grade or year level, then that's considered kind of a regular class. If you teach one class, but there's multi-grades or multi-years in that class, so let's say you teach a 5 and 6 combined, then that's a multi-grade class. If you are a specialist and you teach, let's say, STEM or music or art to multiple classes, then you choose specialist. Resource is if you are a resource teacher and you pull small groups of students out to work with. And last is CSA. CSA would be if you're a classroom support assistant and you work with small groups. So if you forget or need help with any of these, there's a little question mark beside user role, and it has a little bit of information, basically the same information I just said. So I'm going to say I'm a regular teacher. Class code. Class code is just usually has the year level you teach and basically the first 3 digits of letters in your last name. If there's more than one 6 Van, like a 6 Van Dyke and a 6 Van Tassel, then you might just put 6 VT and 6 VD. It doesn't have to be those 3 letters. It can just be 2 or even 1. And if you are a specialist teacher, you'll see that disappears, so it's not a choice. So you don't say, "Oh, I don't teach one class. I'm not going to be a 6 Van." Then you wouldn't have to enter it. Okay, same with CSAs and resource teachers. That's only for regular classroom teachers and multi-grade teachers. Assessment type. Curriculum departments, or ed departments, I should say, in every state or country or province, they have a name for their standards. Some call it a standard. Some call them outcomes. Some in Australia here, it's a national curriculum, they call them content descriptors. But it's basically the standards in the curriculum that teachers want students to achieve. This is just the name of them. It doesn't matter. It's just what's going to show up later in this app. So when you go to standards, if you put standards, it'll always show standards throughout the app as that term. So you could put outcomes if you use outcomes. If you use something other like content descriptors, you could back this out and put in content descriptors. Now the problem with content descriptors is it's really long, and this term is used quite often throughout the program, and it's going to truncate content descriptors. So I could type that in here, content descriptors, content descriptors, and but I'm just going to cancel that. I work in Australia. I just keep it as standards, and I know that standards are content descriptors. Then year type is, do you go by terms or semesters or other? And I guess other, again, you could back this out and type in what you want. I'm going to leave it at term. The number of terms, 4. Report site. Report site. This is if you are going to use the information from this program, this app, and write your reports with it, and you want to kind of copy and paste right from within this program. It'll open up your report card site, and allow you to do that. And you'd have to type in, the address to your site here. In this current version right now, which is 3.0000, that version, the reports site is not available yet. So it'll come out in a newer module. And the last is country, Australia. I put yours here, but you choose whatever country you want. Doesn't matter too much. It's just for in Australia and in some countries like England, they use the term years instead of grades. And so it just changes that information around. In other countries, they use grades, and so it'll switch depending on the country you're in. So I'm just going to press next. I'm all done, and that would be this information set.